journos back at the Newcastle United Media Centre. Slightly different location, different view of the Media Centre. This is the main entrance here. I say we tried to film outside, but we didn't. We didn't even go there. I think if you've been outside today in the northeast, in Newcastle, may have been blown away. It's been a windy one.
I was blown away by that press conference.
Oh, were you?
Just trying to think of a transition there. But
we were blown away by what Eddie Howe told us. Title for the video.
Yeah.
Trying to think of it. But yes, Storm Eowyn.
Yes. I'm glad you went with that.
We had an Irishman in the press conference who helped.
What was called Ewan yesterday, but
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
You've had worse.
Yeah, I really have.
But Eddie Howe speaking, obviously the storm will impact Newcastle's travel plans in some way. They're set to fly from Newcastle Airport to Southampton this afternoon. That could be delayed. We've seen flights out of Newcastle delayed already today or cancelled altogether. So could see Newcastle travel in the morning. Eddie Howe said it won't make a huge amount of difference. So a storm in a teacup, if you like.
You thought that before we came on, didn't you?
I actually didn't. But it will impact Newcastle's training today because, I mean, we look outside there. Yeah. It is bad. You probably can hear a little bit of it as well. But, yeah, Newcastle, they could train indoors, but that dome, as Eddie Howe put it, isn't exactly where we used to do our press conference videos, isn't exactly the sturdiest structure, I'd say. It's been there for 20-odd years in winds like this. Could be interesting.
You fear the worst.
Yeah.
for any old building and winds like this, you do fear the worst because even Eddie Howe said in the press conference it's the worst. He thinks it's the worst winds Newcastle has had or beat up here since he arrived at the football club, which to be fair, it is windy out there.
It is.
It really
windy.
is.
It is windy.
What a day to drive down to the south end of the country.
Yeah. We'll be driving down with our colleagues, Liam Kennedy and Joe Buck, of course, of Newcastle World and the Shields Gazette this afternoon. So hopefully we get there safely and hopefully Newcastle get there safely tomorrow afternoon against Southampton. I say big test. On paper, it shouldn't be. It should be a perfect game for Newcastle to bounce back. But we know these games, historically, Newcastle against some of the worst teams in Premier League history, Sheffield United, Derby County, they throw up interesting results. So Newcastle will still have to get some sort of reaction. They will have to play better than they played against Bournemouth last weekend.
You don't want to be that team that loses to a team after 12 games without a win. Southampton picked up
1 point.
Is it 1 point, is it?
Maybe 2.
I thought it was 2 points from 36. I'll say this.
Okay.
I wrote this down somewhere this week.
I'll trust that information.
You just don't want to be that team that eventually succumbs. Which,
if you're in a group with Everton, it's never a good thing, I'd say.
No.
They're the only team Southampton have beaten this season. So.
Is it? That's the only one game all season already.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
In the Premier League, anyway.
But I think I've seen a bit of Southampton the last few weeks. I watched them against Manchester United, and they were really good for 75 minutes. And then it was one of the worst hat-tricks I've ever seen from Amad Diallo right at the end. But they were decent in that game. Look, to be fair, I use Manchester United as sort of a way to just say that Southampton are all right, but Manchester United against any opposition at this moment in time, particularly Old Trafford, are quite bad. Newcastle won down there comfortably. Even Rangers, from our Scottish friend of the channel, Keith Downey, in terms of Rangers yesterday, had a close eye on that game, and he said that basically Man United beat Rangers as under 19s and certainly in the latter stages of that game anyway when they were bringing on substitutes. So yeah, I mean, they shouldn't lose, but you can never rule it out because it can happen. And as you mentioned there, you touched upon the games, Sheffield United being the most recent one, but Derby County, the 4 points that season, I think they went down with 11, it was.
11.
So look, if it's like in Newcastle sort of, you always fall back on it where Newcastle's a football club, it can't happen. They are one of them teams that can, but you know
they're in a different place now.
That was going to make my next point where they've stepped away from that, I think, but it's still always at the back of your mind. Yes. But Newcastle should comfortably beat Southampton, but it doesn't always work that way.
Let's hope. And on the injury front, which we usually like to start on, but now we're 5 minutes into the video because there hasn't been much of an injury update as such. The only major thing I'd say is Nick Pope back involved.
Yeah, back in the squad. I suspect he'd just be on the bench, won't he? But it's how things play out in a weeks or so time. It's, you know, once Nick Pope's back, it really gives Eddie Howe a difficult decision to make. But I think, yeah, Saturday is one of them where he doesn't really have a decision to make. It's the Bravka, and he's earned his jersey. It's on Nick Pope to get it back, but it's one of them. Nick Pope is a recognised number one, so
Eddie Howe would never go there though.
No, he wouldn't. He was asked that twice, I think.
Probably daft for him to go there really and say, oh yeah, he's me number one, when you've got a player performing relatively well. Okay, probably wouldn't want to see the Bournemouth game back again, but playing well generally, you won't want to hear your manager going, oh yeah, but this guy who's probably a couple of weeks away from coming back, he's me number one. He would never say that. And asked Eddie Howe a question along those lines today, just what would your message be to those players? And it's just perform as well as you can in training, make the decision for me, because he said no players obviously guaranteed a place.
If Newcastle go on a 9-game winning run and Dubravka keeps 6 clean sheets again, then Nick Pope's got 0 chance of going back in. Really, I think it's Dubravka's jersey you lose at the minute.
Yeah.
I think it's Eddie Howe is always sort of big on playing players on merit, and Martin Dubravka is certainly playing on merit at the minute.
Yeah, I'd probably look, I'm speaking purely hypothetically here, I'd probably look at the Birmingham game for Nick Pope maybe, barring a disaster from Dubravka between now and then.
Yeah.
You probably look in that Birmingham game, he starts that game, you rotate your goalkeeper, because FA Cup League One side, although Eddie Howe didn't do it against Bromley last time out in the FA Cup.
I think
it's a different situation.
Newcastle's goalkeeping department is very much, let's be honest, it's 2 goalkeepers. They've got 5, and it's 2 goalkeepers that he seemingly trusts. And I think if Nick Pope had been fit for that Bromley game, then Dubravka would have came in, vice versa.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 3 underneath that haven't really got a look in. The only time one of them got a look in was when Martin Dubravka came off injured at half time, and Odyssey's Demos came on, which I think will come on to him at some point, because he was...
Well, we can come on to it now, because it naturally takes us into our next point that we would have got onto anyway in regards to transfers.
Yeah.
And you asked about Demos to Eddie Howe, given the links to Saudi Al-Shabaab, which you then joked. I think it was a joke.
Yeah,
John
a lot of
Ruddy
people didn't think it was a joke.
I know. Well, I was in the car with Craig Hope, and he was like, I wasn't sure.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, he did drop me a message to confirm if I was joking.
So if you're fooling him, then yeah.
No, people haven't got sense of humour. It was a crap joke, but
no, I liked it.
I thought it was funny. Anyway,
but they haven't, yeah.
No. So yeah, they have not approached yet, as we currently sit here now, approached John Ruddy or Mark Gillespie.
Okay.
But they have approached
Demos.
Odysseys Vlachodimos.
Okay.
I keep saying, is it Odysseys Vlachodimos? I keep saying that confidently. I'm not even sure that's how
I would
you...
say Odysseus.
Odysseus.
I would.
Okay. Good to know.
Say
for
it how
next
you
time.
want.
Yeah. Vlachodimos, I got that one right, I think.
Not a hard...
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, it is a hard name to...
Yeah. I went full name with Eddie Howe today with Odysseys Vlachodimos. I said Odysseys, and he must have been thinking, that's how you pronounce it. But
no, he probably does.
Eddie Howe, being the nice gentleman that he is, would not have corrected me.
Okay,
on that.
but what did he say to your question?
He didn't rule out. I think he didn't rule out. Because I linked it in with the 2 players that have been linked with exits over last week, which obviously make ALMIRON come on to him. Lloyd Kelly will come on to him. And then I tagged Vlachodimos at the end of that question. And he didn't rule out anything. It was one of them where he sort of said that they would keep the core... I think it was a core players. It was another word used in that sentence. But basically he said there's a chance people will leave, but it won't be any of your key players, if you like. So he's left the door open for me for a potential Vlachodimos exit, but
he's a player you can afford to lose. The only thing we sort of debated is how it would leave you from a PSR standpoint, because he was obviously an expensive player in regard to PSR, £20 million, obviously Elliot Anderson, but PSR gymnastics in that regard. But if you then sell a player 6-7 months later for what will be less money than what they paid for him, how does that actually benefit the club in PSR? It's a situation that's not entirely clear. So
I think they would probably happily loan him out, but it's maybe up to the player. Does a player want to go?
I think any player realistically, or any player should want to play first.
Should, but there was it was muted at the end of last year that he wanted to fight for his place here. But I think it's been made abundantly clear that he's got no chance of challenging the number 1 spot.
His third choice keeper, he's Loris Karius.
Yeah.
Again.
So yeah, I agree. I think is he should be looking to move on if he can, but I don't know if there's a real sort of fire in his belly to do it. I don't know. Just because it seems strange if there is offers there, and I think Newcastle would be willing to let him go. Of course, it's got to be right for the club, but a loan at least you would probably consider. But I don't know.
Yeah, for the players' benefit rather than the club in that regard. But yeah, you've got 5 goalkeepers.
It's on them wages probably. That's probably one of the things with a loan, isn't it? Where how much percentage? Because we don't know what he's on. In terms of wages.
Historically, Newcastle, they haven't been good sellers, but in terms of loans as well. But if they have loaned a player, they've often subsidised a lot of the wages as well. So loans haven't really, since the takeover, benefited Newcastle in terms of getting significant wages off the book. You look at someone like Isaac Hayden, who's been out on loan a good few times now, when the club are still paying his wages. Ultimately, he's still under contract till not this summer, but next summer, which is a mad situation in itself. But we won't get on to that. What we will get on to transfers. You touched on it. Miguel Almiron, Lloyd Kelly. Start with Miguel Almiron because he's still here.
Yeah, he's trained this week. Well, as we
he made a point of showing that he was training as well. I thought it was interesting.
No, on the club website there was about 3 or 4 pictures of Almiron
and he shared them on his social media.
Yeah. So yeah, as we record this video now, we'll be in the squad tomorrow. I spoke to someone at Atlanta earlier this week, and they said that they admitted that a deal was progressing slowly, but they'd hope for progress by the end of the week. Obviously, we're here Friday now.
Still here.
So, look, I think the expectation is that he will still go. And you made the point, actually, and I don't think many people know this, would never really tend to look, but it was the MLS transfer window doesn't open until January, the end of January.
January, and then it stays open until April. So
maybe there's something in that as well.
Slightly relaxed. It was even suggested by one of our colleagues in the press pack that do you wait even, as long as people might not like to hear this, until Harvey Barnes is back available from injury in a month's time, and then you could still sell him. So Miguel Almiron, there's maybe less urgency. You just want it done almost for everyone's sake.
Yeah, I think for the players, as an ultimate professional by the sounds of it, but I think for him as well, he probably deserves, if he's going to move, he probably deserves to go at the earliest opportunity so he can get himself
ready, settled.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be going back to a club he knows very, very well. I just think for him as well, he's probably earned the right to do that, where he probably deserves, as I say, to go at the earliest opportunity rather than keeping him about when it's been made abundantly clear he really doesn't have a future. Yeah, it's been like that for the last 12 months, to be honest. I think it's sort of certainly the last 6 months, I would say, from the summer, it was made clear that he didn't really have a future here. So keeping him about seems a bit unfair. But I suppose you've got to do what's best for the club, and is it best for Eddie Howe and his squad that they keep Almiron here because he's an option in the light of attacking options, probably. But
Jacob Murphy, little twinge of his cough against.
Yeah, he ruled that because
he said he was fine, and he has trained this week. So don't worry, anyone with him in his in your FPL team, don't worry. I had messages about it. Jacob Murphy. Oh God, I could jinx it because they are still training today. But Jacob Murphy is trained this week.
He was
no injury after Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So that is fine. But yeah, Miguel Almiron.
Still expect him to go, but it's not happening at the moment. So
yeah, we'll wait and see. Eddie Howe said he could leave, which is
still says there's a chance, and I think
as far as Eddie Howe would ever go on a player.
He was really strong at last week. When at the press conference I didn't do last week, I watched it on the live stream and I thought he was really strong on Almiron. And that hasn't really changed, apart from, to our surprise, he's still kicking about the squad, because I think we would have expected, everyone would have expected probably Saturday against Bournemouth to be his final game.
Yeah, still.
But yeah, we all.
Well, he didn't get on the pitch, so.
Final time in the match day squad.
Final St James's Park appearance.
I could still play out that way, couldn't it? But one last dance at Southampton, possibly. We'll see if he gets on.
He scored a good goal at Southampton a couple of years back.
He did.
Yeah.
Season to finish, it was with Junie's purple patch.
Aye. That was
crazy.
Halcyon days. Those were. But yeah, moving on. Lloyd Kelly, Jordan. Another question linked to something you asked Eddie Howe. Lloyd Kelly's been approached, bid from Fenerbahce, bid from Juventus. Sounds like neither were really entertained by Newcastle, but it's an interesting situation regarding Lloyd Kelly because, I mean, he came in, we did a video on it when he first signed, but this is almost Newcastle's marquee signing, which probably shows how poor the summer was when a free transfer is your marquee signing as such, if you don't count Lewis Hall, of course. But yeah, Lloyd Kelly came in with decent expectations. You go, does he actually improve the starting 11 in terms of a left-back or left-sided centre-back with Sven Botman out injured? And he just hasn't done that. He's had 4 Premier League starts. He's been, I say in and out the team, but he's barely been in the team. He's come on as a sub a few times recently. And for a player you sign for nothing, who is on significant wages, maybe not as high as has been reported, but is on a lot of money, and if you can make very quick money for him, then it seems like a no-brainer. But Newcastle sound like they're pushing back a bit on that, based on what Eddie Howe was saying.
I think they've got a valuation, and I don't think they're under any pressure there. So I think it's easy to look and go, well, they signed a player for free 6 months ago, and anything you make off him is an easier profit. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure it quite works like that. But I think it's fairly not obvious. But I think it's if the valuation was met, I think they would probably, because Eddie Howe even said he mentioned these press conferences had a lot of defenders. Yeah. He said that in a relation, another question, but did say he had a lot of defenders. And Lloyd Kelly, as you say, is a player that has barely kicked the ball.
Now
really.
Sven Botman's back.
There's a lot of competition.
Well,
you've got Matt Targett as another option at left back, alongside Lewis Hall, and you've got Dan Burn. There's
Tino Livramento. They can all play left back.
So I think you could afford to lose Lloyd Kelly, but I think Newcastle are of the mindset just go, look, we've got a valuation. If you don't meet, we're not going to sell.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair. I don't know this, but my personal view is that if an offer was to come in around £15 million upwards, I think if I was Newcastle, I would snap your hands off for that. But I'm not sure any clubs go anywhere near that. Apparently, Fenerbahce is reported by Craig Howe, £6 million bid. It's not worth considering at all. Been a lot of noise from Juventus about loan to buys. Why?
Loans with option to buys are a waste of time.
Exactly. If there was an obligation, fair enough.
Newcastle have been stung twice with Jamal Lewis and Isaac Hayden. Loans with options to buy. You think right there out the door. Club don't take the option.
Yeah, exactly. So
you need Lewis Hall obligations. That's what we need.
Which
we thought was a mistake initially, but thankfully Lewis Hall is the man.
But I think you like you go, but only if the valuation's met. And I think any offers below 15 million as a door flings open there.
I feel like the media centre's going to blow down.
Yeah. Until he just opened. That's been done out. That door's flying.
It's flew open.
Anyway,
shocking.
It's opening. it's telling me to end my point on Lloyd Kelly. And my view on Lloyd Kelly is I would sell if the valuation was met, but Newcastle should not be pressured into selling the player just because of signing for free 6 months ago.
Yes, and people will be going, we need Almiron out the door, we need Kelly out the door, get some money so Newcastle can spend this month. One thing Eddie Howe has continually stressed, and stressed it again today, while not completely ruling anything out, because he said he didn't want to lie, and Newcastle aren't active in the transfer market and realistically won't reinvest any money they get or won't invest any significant money in a signing this month as things stand. Yeah,
keeping the powder dry out the summer, which January at the best of times, even when you're not under PSR restrictions, is a hard window to deal. Obviously clubs demand higher fees, they don't want to lose players. It's a really difficult market aside from PSR. So, but it's one of them where if there was an opportunity to strengthen, they probably should take it.
I think so. You're on the cusp of Champions League qualification and your squad gets weakened.
It's very, very hard to say or expect Eddie Howe to go and deliver Champions League football when they haven't strengthened for
they've weakened
three
the squad.
They've let players go. They will. Whatever you think of ALMIRON, he's will they lose him.
The squad has been objectively weakened because you've lost a player.
They've got a very good, as Craig Hope put it, actually Eddie Howe, 13, 14 players where
you go.
That's a strong group of players, but it's when you start picking up injuries into players after that where they do become weak. They've got a great start 11 but a very weak squad. So chasing Champions League, they've got themselves in a position where they're currently have a chance. I think in any normal time you would go in the window and you would look to strengthen. But I just think they've made their minds up and they're just going to have to try and get back through the summer. And I don't know how. I'm not a PSR expert or a financial expert.
Roll the dice, innit?
Roll the dice and almost just say in the summer we will be able to go out and spend X amount and actually do like a real squad build.
Yeah. When you've got
time. How that works in PSR, how not spend this month makes them better off in the summer. I'm not going to sit here and say I totally understand that, but that's the word we're getting back, and that's the reason as to why they're not as strong in terms of looking to spend this month, which it's a roll of dice. That's what it is. I think that's the best way to sum it up.
Yeah, I was going to say something which I really shouldn't, but it was I think the June 30th last year frightened the life out of Newcastle.
It really did.
I was going to use slightly more X-rated words, made them themselves,
yeah.
but they absolutely do not want to go in that situation again. And in the summer, they were willing to spend X amount of money on Mark Gay, around £60 million, we understand. They could have spent that. That money was there as such, but then sales would have had to happen before, and more than just Miguel Almiron. So we touched on it, me and Liam, in last week's video. So those asking, where's the Mark Gay money gone? See that video, and I've just sort of briefly summarised the point there. But yeah, it doesn't seem like there's going to be much in the terms of outgoings, and incomings. And if there are outgoings, we're going to see loan exits or Miguel Almiron, potentially Lloyd Kelly if say Juventus or someone else books the ideas up and really takes things seriously with a bid. But I think that pretty much sums up Eddie Howe's press conference. Slight update on Callum Wilson as well, back early February.
Yeah. We'll see.
Let's wait and see. But, as you know, we're a twosome today. We're usually a trio. In matches, we're usually a trio. We'll be joined by Liam at Southampton, but we'll have a quick word from Liam now and our sponsors. So take it away, Liam.
Comply IT Limited are the new sponsors on board with the Geordie Journals. Are you worrying about disposing of your old IT equipment? Don't be. Comply IT handle everything: secure collection, detailed tracking and certified data destruction. Of course, we have Mitigate too. Mitigate enhances workplace mental health, helping businesses stay compliant, reduce absences and unlock higher productivity, creating healthier, happier teams. And of course, finally, Four Rivers Financial Planning. Four Rivers Financial Planning offer holistic financial advice for all stages of life, ensuring your plan remains robust and adaptable in the ever-changing world that we live in.
So yeah, that was Liam. Getting him involved in the video.
You've got to, haven't you? He felt left out when he was away at the start of the month, or he wasn't on the videos because of being busy or whatever, and then taking his kids to games. And he was really upset by not being on videos. So our classy gesture towards
He'll
him.
like that. He likes the sound of his... I can't say that, that's Shan. But you know what I mean, those who watch the channel. And yeah, we'll be driving down to Southampton, hopefully get there in one piece. Hopefully we'll see Newcastle getting back to winning ways at St Mary's, because they had a horrible record at St Mary's until recently, but I think it's
ever since that Alan St Maxim goal, wasn't it?
Aye, just before COVID.
And just before COVID.
And then they've won every game since, haven't they?
Yeah, Carabao Cup, 2 in the Premier League. Aye, 2 in the Premier League. Incredible.
Is it 2 in the Premier League?
It was Almiron.
It was a 4-1.
Yeah, which there's the Almiron and Bruno, and then there was it might be 3. Is it? No, Chris. It was a Chris Wood when he scored his first goal, and Bruno's first goal.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so I think that's 2.
Good memory, good knowledge. So yeah, hopefully we'll be a bit more positive after the game, because generally speaking, I mean, it was an off day. Hopefully, just an off day against Bournemouth last weekend. But look, 9 wins in 10. Hard to complain too much, and if you win against a team you should, I'm going to jinx it, who you should beat.
You should beat them, there's no way, there's no 2 ways of putting it.
The league table suggests as such, then you're right back in that top 4, top 5 Champions League conversation. So yeah, and with English teams generally speaking, unless your Man City doing well in Europe, that 5th place looks like it's going to be almost a cert for Champions League qualification next season. So hopefully that's where Newcastle's targets are. That Premier League title charge lasted all of maybe 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days.
If you're even going that far. Eddie Howe said he didn't even think. Yeah. That's your fault, Alan. But yeah, we've been the Geordie Journos. We'll be at Southampton tomorrow, joined by Liam Kennedy, and we'll see you there.